What is EBITDA and how does it affect your dental practice? Hi, I'm Trevor Kimball. I'm the president of Integrity Practice Sales, and today we're going to be breaking down EBITDA for the dental practice. Let's go. What is EBITDA? Specifically, a guide for dentists. All right. EBITDA is an acronym. It stands for earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. Specifically, it's a measure of cash flow that an outside investor, an investor who does not work in the practice, can expect to receive before any considerations about debt, taxes, and capital expenditures. So let's break that down a little bit more. Interest. Earnings before interest. Interest is money paid for the privilege of borrowing money. Since we are looking at this as an investor who may have a lot of debt, may not have debt, we can't factor the amount of debt that we have into our consideration of the practice itself. So we take out that interest. Similarly, we take out taxes, but not all taxes. We take out federal, state, and local corporate income taxes. There's lots of different tax strategies and lots of different things you can do to minimize your tax liability. And so we don't want any of that broader picture to affect the way we look at the practice. So if there's any kind of corporate income tax on the income statement for the practice, then we're going to not include that either as part of our EBITDA formula. But we are going to include taxes like payroll taxes, sales taxes that you pay, and other taxes necessary for the running of the business. Those stay as proper expenses in the business, but corporate income taxes get removed as part of our EBITDA formula. Finally, there's depreciation and amortization. Both of these are so-called paper expenses. What does that mean? Well, we're not actually writing a check, making it out to depreciation and sending it to the depreciation store. We're not making a check out to amortization. No money leaves your bank account when you write off these expenses, when you depreciate or amortize expenses or expenditures from the past. When we do this, and depreciation is specifically with physical assets, amortization is with intangible assets, but that money, even though it's listed as an expense, is not technically money that's going to anyone. So EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. How do we calculate it? Well, first we're going to take revenue, total collections in the practice, and then we're going to subtract adjusted expenses. These are things that are listed as expenses of the practice, maybe in your profit and loss statement, but aren't necessary for the running of the practice. Things like your auto lease or maybe traveling for CE. You didn't have to go to Hawaii. You could have stayed home and done online CE. So we're not going to include that. Then we take away the EBITDA, the interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. All those get removed from our EBITDA calculation. And then the doctor salary adjustment. So I'll give an example of this in just a moment, but any 1099 or W-2 income that's listed as an expense, we're going to take that away. And then we're going to add back, we're going to include an associate salary as if you were an associate in your own practice. Because remember, I'm the outside investor. I'm not working in the practice. So if I were to pay a dentist to do the production that you're doing in your own practice, how much would I pay them? And I'm going to put that back in as an expense. And once we do those things, we arrive at our EBITDA calculation. So let's take a closer look at how this works in practice. I've put together a profit and loss statement here that's just a sample, just threw some numbers together. Here we are. So what's the first thing we're going to do here? We're going to adjust the expenses by taking off that auto lease. Again, you don't have to drive a 7 Series to work. You don't have to drive a 911. You could ride your bike or take the bus. So it's not necessary for the running of the practice, even if it's a justified business expense. Talk to your CPA. But the auto lease we're going to remove. So first, we adjust the expenses. Next thing we're going to do is remove the EBITDA considerations, the depreciation, the interest, taxes, amortization. So in this instance, we have depreciation and we have interest that we're removing. The taxes and licenses here, that's not being removed because none of those taxes included there on that line item are corporate income taxes. So you have to dive in sometimes to figure out whether you're properly doing the EBITDA calculation. But we're going to remove depreciation, we're going to remove interest, and then next we have the salary adjustment. So of this $516,000 that I've allocated towards W-2 salaries in this practice doing $1.2 million, of that, the doctor was paying herself $180,000. So that's great. I'm sure that the doctor and the doctor's CPA came up with this number together, and it's optimized for their specific situation. But let's say this doctor was doing $1 million of production. You couldn't get an associate in to come in and do $1 million of production and pay them $180,000. So we're going to take out that 180 from the 516, that's the total W-2 wages, take out the 180,000 that the doctor is being paid, but then we're going to add back in a 30% of the doctor production, a salary for 30% of the doctor production, so $300,000. So our new salary line item is going to be $636,000. So now our restatement: we've removed the auto lease, we've removed the depreciation of the interest, we've adjusted the salary, and so now we have our EBITDA number of $266,000. That is the EBITDA in this practice. That's a really healthy number. That's how you calculate EBITDA. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to learn more about the value of your practice, if you'd like for us to run all these calculations for you so you can see where your practice stands, please go to integritypracticesales.com/sell. Again, integritypracticesales.com/sell. Or click on the link below to get connected with your local agent and get a professional, comprehensive valuation of your own practice. Thanks.